39-year-old Stephen Dobb of Nottingham, England has been jailed for assaulting his ex-girlfriend and causing damage to a car after a man liked a photo of her on a Facebook page. They had a Chinese meal together and wine, and then returned to the man's home before a disagreement about the Facebook picture broke out. When she tried to call a taxi to take her home, he grabbed her phone and threw it onto the floor. He then insulted her before grabbing hold of her wrist and neck and pushing her down. While pushing her into the floor, he started laying kicks into her from behind, leaving her with bruising to her back and arms. She managed to escape the residence, but he followed her. He started punching the windows of the car and then threw a gas cylinder at the bonnet, causing substantial damage to the bodywork and windscreen. The woman called the police and he was detained following the incident. Dobb was jailed last week for 12 months after admitted common assault and 2 counts of criminal damage. A 55-year-old man is out on bail after being charged with a fatal stabbing of a 28-year-old man following an altercation outside an Elmhurst, Illinois bar over the weekend. Ronald Dunbar is accused of stabbing Carl Bomber once in the chest with a pocket knife after a fight erupted between the two men and a third unidentified individual outside the bar on Saturday night. A disagreement started in the bar between Carl and the bartender. Carl left the building and a fight broke out involving Ronald, Carl and another individual. Elmhurst police were contacted shortly before 6:10 p.m. regarding a disturbance at the front of their Spring Inn bar, located at 552 South Spring Road. When the deputies arrived, they found a broken window at the front. Around 6 minutes later, police received a report of an unconscious man at a park approximately 1 mile south of the bar. The man was identified as Carl, and he was rushed to the hospital in a critical condition and succumbed to his injuries on Monday. At some point after the incident, Ronald voluntarily turned himself in at the Elmhurst Police Department where he was interviewed. Subsequently, he was arrested and charged with murder. He attended court on Tuesday and was released from the DuPage County Jail on a $500,000 bond. His next court appearance is scheduled for Thursday. If he's found guilty of murder, he could be sentenced to a minimum of 20 years in prison. An Indianapolis man is behind bars for allegedly stabbing a woman 24 times and beating her to death with a baseball bat and then dumping her body in the woods, all over an argument over $30. The incident occurred last week when the victim's body was dumped in the woods on Hollingworth Drive and partially covered with debris. Police first responded to the wooded dead-end street to investigate a disturbance on the 6th of April. When they arrived at the scene, they found 31-year-old Daniel Gentry covered in mud with bloody hands. He told the officers he wounded himself searching for his dogs in the woods. Gentry was allowed to leave the scene, and the victim's body wasn't found yet. 3 hours later, police came back to the scene and found a red truck stuck in the mud with blood in the back, but again the victim's body was not discovered. 8 hours later, police returned to the neighbourhood a third time when a home detention officer noticed a woman's GPS monitor for an ankle bracelet hadn't moved for over 6 hours. The GPS device, however, finally led officers to find the dead body of 39-year-old Christina Veach in the woods. A witness claimed Gentry, who owned the red truck, was the same man found covered in blood and mud at the scene. Gentry confessed to beating the victim with a baseball bat and dumping her body 3 miles north of his home. An autopsy found the victim was stabbed 24 times in the back after she died from a blow to the head with a bat. Gentry told police he did it because she was fighting with my wife. Before Gentry was taken to the Marion County Jail, he injected himself with fentanyl. He's been charged with murder and is held without bond as he awaits trial.